everyone, welcome to another beautiful episode of Demystify Agriculture S1 E3. I remain your humble host, Omotola, and with me today is Mrs. Onyinye. She's a gardener, she owns organic ways, and she's going to be telling us about home gardening. So, hello Mrs. Onyinye, can you tell us about yourself?
My name is Mrs. Onyinye. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm a food gardener. I grow vegetables, leafy greens, herbs, and fruit trees from the comfort of my home. I am married with 3 children, and I live in an apartment. So because a lot of times people think to grow from home, you actually have to live in your own house. So, but there are, ways to managing all of that. So, but I promote home gardening on my page at Instagram. I try to encourage everyone to start growing some of their food at home.
Okay, you said you stay in an apartment and there are ways to home gardening. Like, viewers out there, they may be interested in knowing what are the ways to home gardening.
Yes, starting with the space, of course, space is the most important thing. Do you have a balcony? Do you have a windowsill? Does the house where you live have a rooftop? Is there some space in the courtyard? Do you have a backyard? Where do you stay? Do you stay on, upstairs or downstairs? You can always look around and find that perfect space that of course gets some amount of sunlight, and then find some containers to put in soil, get some seedlings from a nursery or start your seed yourself. And then that's it. Once the soil is good, you add water, it gets sunlight, and then you just watch your plants grow.
Okay, that's interesting. So can you give us an insight into what home gardening actually is?
Home gardening is growing at home. So now gardening, we're talking about growing something. So it can be, like I said, the vegetables, the herbs. It can also be flowers. Though most of the time the flowers we grow are flowers to beautify our environment, or some like to grow grasses. So but for me, I'm a food gardener and I grow everything I grow, it's edible. So if you love flowers too, there are edible flowers that you can also grow at home. So I would be talking more on food gardening because that's where my expertise.
What motivated you to go into home gardening, and since when?
Okay, I've been growing now at my home since 2017, and the motivation has always come from my childhood. I love to see things grow. Even though back then I didn't like to go to the farm, but I've always known that I love to live on a farm. So I don't know how that was going to happen, but I think having that motivation or having that interest, then in 2017 I went on a trip that sparked and brought back the memories, and the interest got rekindled, and I came back to start my first tomato plant, which though wasn't so successful because of pest issues, but I managed to reap a few tomato fruits from it. So,
Okay, can you share with us what you are currently growing?
yes, I grow leafy greens like ewedu, kale, ugu, Lagos spinach, collard greens, water leaf. I grow a lot, and then I grow herbs too, like our regular herbs that we like to cook with, ephedrine, scent leaf. I grow sweet basil. I grow curry.
So of all these things you grow, do you do business with it? Like, do you sell them?
Well, for now I don't sell food produce, but I do sell seedlings because I usually propagate, and the seedlings I share with other home gardeners, because I wasn't selling until 2020 actually. I think it was in 2020 a lot of people wanted to start their own home garden. So people started chatting me up like how can I do this, and I'm like, okay, so I can actually help other people to start their own food garden at home. And then I started with giving them supplies like compost, seedlings, and also advice on how to grow at home.
Okay, so growing at home, what has been the advantage and the benefits for you?
Obviously, food, isn't it? Everyone loves food, and good for quality food, because growing at home gives me that opportunity to know where my food is coming from. Like, I know the history, there's no chemical in my food, But apart from that, in 2020, growing was like my comfort place, because I teach in a school twice in a week, and apart from teaching in a school, I'm also a travel teacher, so I go overseas with children during the holidays. So I had a trip that April before the lockdown, and I had a trip that just got cancelled, and it messed up my emotions really, and so I just had to rush back to my passion and my hobby of growing. So growing helps to deal with mental stress. It's relaxing, it's therapeutic. It helps a lot of times, even when people lose their loved ones, having to see something grow, because when you watch and see new things sprout, because that's one of the things, the highlights of growing. Like every morning I go to my garden expecting to see just one new surprise. Yesterday I got one. My banana of almost 2 years fruited, and it was a very, I've been happy since yesterday. So those are the kind of things, like gardening gives you that hope, and it kind of sparks that optimism. It encourages you even when you think it's like during the COVID lockdown. I didn't feel like I was in a lockdown, because I was doing quite a lot in my garden. I was very busy. It's engaging. It's a perfect outdoor activity for a family, to hang out, especially in these time and days that children are being grown indoors. So if you have a garden, it's a place that you can always go hang out with your children, and then you will get to bond doing one or two things together.
Okay. So with this, talking about the advantages, what are the disadvantages of owning and home gardening? Like, what are the challenges you go through?
Okay, I'd rather talk about the challenges, because like I just told you about the banana that I grew for almost 2 years. You see, I sell banana to people. Like I said, I sell seedlings, and my customers they've all shared their banana harvest, and I'm asking myself, what the hell is wrong with my banana? So if you are growing, one of the things that you have to learn, and it's also like a challenge, is you have to learn to be patient. If you lack patience, then you're going to have issues, because you're not going to be patient enough to wait and harvest. So there are a lot of challenges. One of them is pest. Like my first tomato had pest issues. So, but it's always better to avoid. Try to learn, which is also one of the things I advise. How do I stay away? How do I grow my garden in a way that pests stays away? But sometimes too, they don't stay away. So how do I manage them when they finally come? So those are some of the challenges. But most times it's not really something that you cannot control. It's something that can be controlled. And then you have to also learn and understand some of the simple things you have to do. Excuse me. So if you understand that this particular plant behaves like the behavior of a particular plant, if you understand the behavior of a particular plant, then you will understand how to grow that plant. And then you also have to try to manage the climate, like try to manage the sun, the wind, and all of that. I was just sharing growing conditions for kale with someone, and one of the things that has made me a successful kale gardener is because I know that my kale doesn't like direct sun.
Okay.
So you have to understand the growing conditions, the plants that love
Is
full
it sorry?
sun.
Is it kill plants generally, or it depends on the seeds too?
On the variety.
Okay.
No, most kale. I presently grow 4 varieties of kale,
Okay.
and they all respond to. They don't like direct sun,
Okay.
so I have to grow them in partial shades and quite a number of. So if you are growing at home, you have to understand that some plants just like too much, like they like full day sun. Some plants don't like full day sun, they just need a little amount of sun, like 3 hours. And so you have to understand all of that. You have to understand that you need to water your plants, especially if you're a container gardener, because it's a bit challenging growing in containers. If you're growing in the ground is, having more surface space, so it can retain water more. But if you're growing in container, the water retention is not that much, so you have to always provide water for your plants. And apart from providing water for your plants, mulch is also one of the things that happens that is very important. You just have to maintain the right conditions. They are not rocket science, they are not difficult, which I've also tried to explain them in one of the books I launched last year, The Home Gardening Secrets. I have like over 10 secrets there about the things that you have to do to just,
Get
sustain.
right.
Exactly.
Okay. You talked about pests the other time as a challenge for you. Like, how did you overcome it? What did you do? What are the things you tried to put in place to make sure that pests are not disturbing your crops?
Okay, so I'm an organic food gardener, so that means I do not use chemicals in my garden. So I don't use herbicides because I don't even need herbicides. I don't need them because they're going to contaminate my food. So I grow in, and another advantage of growing in containers is you don't really have issues with weed. They just come a little bit and then you can just get rid of them with your hand. And now, talking about pests, what kind of pests really plague us here? One of the plants that really have issues with pests at my garden is pepper. And you will be shocked that most of the time I just have to give them a bath.
You give them what?
A bath.
What's
I
a bath?
bait the
Oh,
pepper.
okay.
I bait the pepper. So you just use like pressure from your water tap or whatever your watering can, and then you flush them on the plant, and then it just flushes off like all those white flies and stuff like that. But when the infestation comes up, like maybe you didn't notice it on time, because that's also one pest control measure is visiting your garden. So some people just plant garden, they don't visit. If you visit your garden, you will be able to nip those problems in the bud. So if for some reasons I traveled, and then by the time I came back, a particular pest has invaded my garden, what do I do? Then you can always use some organic pesticides. We have some organic pesticides. There are quite a number of them. I have them listed too in my book, The Pest Control Secrets. But the very common one is neem. We have the neem. It's a natural pesticide that you can use to flush and control some of those things at your garden.
Okay. How do you think home gardening can reduce malnutrition and increase food security in the country?
Okay, let's start from the place of behavior and interest. So a lot of us grew up in the villages, right, where we have to eat right from the farm, and then most of the time the food is getting to us like within hours, and we're already eating them. Because when you talk about nutrition, researchers have it. There are studies there that shows that your food begins to lose value just a few hours after harvest. So the closer your food is to you, the better. So by the time food is harvested in the farm and it travels a long way and it gets to you maybe 2 days later, even visually you can see that this food has lost something. So home gardening is one way of staying close enough to your food. Home gardening will help you to know where your food is coming from. If you're the one growing your food, of course, you know better not to grow with chemicals, because these chemicals we're talking about, we're not just making noise about don't grow with chemicals. We're talking about chemicals that are capable of contaminating your food. And when we talk about contamination, a lot of times, most of the diseases that people suffer from are from contaminations that they got from food. So there's a lot of research showing that chemical is not good for you. Your body cannot digest chemical. A lot of these big sicknesses today that are being hyped and everything, most of them are coming because we have really moved away from a natural food. God placed medicine in food, so your food needs to be your medicine. If you eat your food right every day, you won't have to deal with sicknesses. We talk about herbs. Those herbs, they have a lot of them that are being used to treat illnesses. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. What's their source? All the drugs they are making them from food. They're making them from herbs, from trees. The Ceylon spinach, aka water leaf, that we look down on, the root of water leaf has serious medical benefits. The leaves, the flowers, everything is edible. So, but if you get the same water leaf from the market, which has already been contaminated, trust me, those nutrients in that water leaf that is supposed to heal a particular thing in your body, those nutrients have been lost already because of the way that water leaf was grown. So, but if you're growing at home and you have been told that you need to eat water leaf to cure yourself of a particular thing, you can be rest assured that water leaf you're eating is it's just what you need, and it's going to do just what it's expected to do because it's organic. So all the food nutrients are intact inside the food. And then talking about food security, today we are faced with a lot of stress. Our population is so much. Our country has been labeled the poverty capital, and that's because we are not able to produce as much to feed ourselves, because we are a lot. So, but food gardening can bridge the gap. You can imagine if our interest gets sparked and we understand that we can actually grow something, then what would that do? That is going to reduce the pressure in the market. So if I don't have to go to the market to look for tomatoes, and I know 20 other people who don't have to go to the market to look for tomatoes, what will happen? The pressure will drop because the conventional farmers are under so much pressure to produce so much that they have to go cut corners and look for quick ways of meeting up the demand in the market. The demand is high because we are, a lot of people feeding from just very few hands. But if every home started a garden, then the pressure will drop in the market. And what do you think will happen? Food prices will go down and people will be a lot healthier too.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, do you have any suggestions for people that want to go into home gardening or people that are already into home gardening? Like, do you have anything to tell them?
Yes. Like I said, the interest. A lot of times we don't seem to really be interested. I'll tell you, from the environment where I'm growing at home, a lot of people look at me like, what's wrong with her? Like, is it water leaf? How much is water leaf that she cannot afford, that she has to be growing water leaf around? They don't understand that the water leaf I'm eating is different from the one they are buying from the market. If you understand that, then you might just as well start growing something. You might as well start growing something. You want to eat salad, you went to the market to go and buy lettuce and you washed it to eat. Is it salad you're eating or is it paper that you are eating? In fact, it's even better if it was paper you are eating, because most of the time the salad is already laden with some chemicals that your body cannot process.
Chemicals to keep them fresh.
Of course, they at different levels. Of course, from the soil, the fertilizers they are using, chemical, from the pest pesticides, chemical, and even sometimes to keep them afresh, to bring them to the market, still chemical. They use chemicals at different stages. So if you have a little space, I will just tell you, look for that little space. Not if you have, you definitely do have. Look for that little space. There are a lot of things to grow. There are microgreens to grow. Microgreens, you don't even need space outside. You can grow it right in your kitchen. You can grow microgreens in your apartment. Microgreens are plants you can grow indoors. A lot. And you can feed out of it. And those ones are even superfood. So just look for that space. I don't believe there's no one that does not have a space. Once you live in a house, look for that space. And there are ways to manage them. You can grow in hanging planters. Assuming you have a balcony, but your balcony is so busy down, like you have generator here, you have this, you have that, then go for hanging planters and make use of the space up. There are a lot of space here we're talking about. It's not just, you must not be in the ground. All my mint, I grow them up. I don't grow my mint down. I'm not just mint. I have quite a number of things I grow up. And they look nice too. Have you tried growing on your balcony, like put planters on your balcony? They look really nice. So find that space. Look for that hack that you need just to grow some food. Visit my Instagram page. I have a lot that I share on my page. I have books that I've written on home gardening secrets, pest control management, starting your seeds, and how to make compost at home. I didn't even talk about compost as in the benefit. There's a whole lot that we stand to benefit just by growing at home. And today we'll talk about organic organic food. This is expensive, yes, because that's why the conventional farmers will not go for organic grow. Organic grow is more expensive, but it becomes less expensive and easier when we decide to grow as little units in homes. So you can imagine if in Lagos we have 1,000 homes growing food at home. And by the time you become so good growing your own food, you might actually have some excess to share. I know a home gardener, though not in this country, from Kenya, who sells ginger. He has mastered growing ginger so well. And today you can, like I said, not just make use of the lower space, you can do vertical gardening. And he grows quite a lot of ginger. He has one shop in the UK that he supplies ginger to. Just one shop. And they have a 1-year subscription for ginger from him. So he grows ginger and he exports. So you can make a living out of home gardening. You can make a living out of it. So since 2020, when I started having pressure to assist other people to grow, I've made a lot. I've made reasonable amount of money helping others by selling seedlings, selling cocoa peats, selling compost, like generally inputs for growing at home.
Okay, that's great. Do you think we need any government policy, or do you know if we have any government policy that supports home gardening?
In fact, to grow at home, to grow in your house, do you need any permission to grow in your house?
It's not more so like a permission, like a support group, let me say, like from the government. Maybe they do a thing to help people or encourage people to grow at home.
Oh, of course, definitely at different levels. The local government councils have associations for farmers, and I think now they are also beginning to recognize home gardening, because home gardening is not so peculiar to our environment. Even though this home gardening, urban gardening we're talking about today, it is the same subsistence farming that was happening back home, at least where I come from in the east. Every home had something they were growing at their backyard. Growing up in my home, we had some chickens, a few chickens, we had something growing from our backyard, we just had something growing. And so the government and the local councils are aware of organizations like where you have to register to join as a home gardener or someone that is growing some food. And they also offer support, maybe for soil test and some other things. But you have to join. Okay, and then apart from before you can benefit, then apart from that, so we also have organic NOAN, National Organic Association of Nigeria, which I'm also a member of. And then we have Lagos, we have in all the states. And NOAN presently offers a lot of training for home gardeners, and they are free. A lot of trainings for home gardeners. So you can join the NOAN, the Organic Association of, is an organic association where you learn how to grow your food without chemical, how to preserve your food without chemical. So these are some of the things, the organizations that are on ground that can assist.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Onyinye. I'm sure our viewers have benefited a lot from this episode, like how to take care of your garden, how to start, the problem, people complain about space problem, like there's no space, where do I start from? You've already given us an insight into how you grew banana in a bag and how it's already fruiting. So home gardening is not something so difficult, and it's something that we should all venture into because of our health. Because for you to live healthy, you have to eat good food. Like she mentioned, the food that we eat is the medicine that is helping us grow your body organs, everything. And most of the time, when you grow vegetables are like the is it bodybuilding food? What they call that? Sorry.
The vitamins.
Yeah, the vitamins. Sorry, vegetables are the vitamins. They carry everything that we actually need to live right. Let me put it that way.
The antioxidants, the ones that help to flush out toxins from your system.
So you see, and these are the things that are actually very easy to grow. So if you have them in your house, at least if you buy the ones with chemicals outside, when you are growing with the ones you have in your backyard, they should be helping you to like kill the chemicals from the other one. At least you have something in your body that is fighting other chemicals. So home gardening is actually a great one, and you can follow Mrs. Onyinye on Instagram, Organic Ways. She has a lot of tips and help for you to like grow your garden and take care of your garden. You can also follow us on Sense Agric, our business page on Sense Agric. We have tips. We also share tips on home gardening. We have a group, home gardening group. You can check the caption for the link if you want to join. On this group, there are different gardeners that share tips and talk about what they are growing and how to take care of your plant and stuff like that. Thank you very much for today's episode. Thank you so much, Mrs. Onyinye. We're so glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Organic Sense Agric, for having me. Sincerely, Sense Agric is one organization that has been very consistent in creating awareness for this interest I talked about that is so much needed, because even today, when you have to build up on capacity, you need some level of funding, and you find out that the people who actually have those funds, there are a lot of people that can, facilitate projects for growing food, but they have the money, but they don't have the interest. So Sense Agric is doing a wonderful job trying to, create that awareness so that more people begin to look into investing in agriculture as a way to push our economy to the right.